today you're going to be working on an activity called this or that. This or that, you have an option to make a life choice. Okay, so picking which house you want to live in, which car you want to buy, which vacation you want to travel. And I'm going to show you an example of how you follow the directions. The directions are going to ask you to calculate how much you would have to pay each month. Okay, and this is very real world related because you're going to want to do this to see if you can afford those monthly payments, because if you can't, then you can't take that vacation or you can't buy that house. So we're going to do a house payments, which is similar to my situation right now. So the cost of the house is going to be $300,000. Okay. This is how much I'm borrowing from the bank. So this would be my principal, or my P part. My interest rate is 4.5%. So this is my R. And the time is 30 years, which is my T. So as you can tell, I need to first find out how much money I'm going to be spending just on interest alone. Okay. So I equals P times R times T. I don't know, so I have to leave it as an I, equals 300,000, which is how much money I have to borrow. That's the price of the house, times my interest rate. Now I have 4.5%, so I have to move the decimal, which makes 0.045, times our time in years, which is 30. Okay. So when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to take 300,000 times 0.45, which is my interest rate, times my 30 years, and I'm going to be spending $405,000 just in interest. Okay, so now you see why people borrow money to buy a house, because look at how much money they are making over those 30 years. That's insane. Okay. Not what the question asked for, though. Okay, the question is going to ask for how much you have to pay each month. So our first step is to figure out how many months are in 30 years. Okay, so I have to take 30 years times 12 months in 1 year to figure out how many months there are in 30 years. So I'm going to take 30 times 12, and I'm going to get 360 months in 30 years. Okay, so I have 360 months to pay off my house. Okay. Now what I forgot to do before was to find the total cost that I'm going to be spending on this house. So I'm going to spend the price of the house, which is $300,000, and I also have to spend the $405,000 on the interest because I don't have $300,000 sitting around in my bank account. Okay, so my total price that I'm going to have to pay for this house is $705,000. Okay, that's how much I'm going to have to pay over those 360 months. Now, if I want the price for each month, I'm going to take this number and divide it by how many months I'm going to be paying it. Okay, because that's going to give me how much I have to pay for every single month of those 360 months. So I'm going to take 705,000 divided by 360, and I get 1,958.3 repeating, which I just keep the first two. And that is going to be my monthly payment, okay, just on my house. So use this example to work through the this or that activity where you can pick your life choices and find out how much you have to pay each month.